The CW has never been profitable, and it's no surprise to see why. They push out some of the worst content possible and expect people to just shut up and consume it. But with the Arrowverse, people liked it at the start before they created content like Supergirl and Batwoman, but now their newest show, Gotham Knights, is getting destroyed by critics who say it's just another mediocre series. I have a bunch of things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or Minds, or consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon or a supporter via YouTube memberships. So, I wanted to show off the critic reviews for this. Of course, as you can see, Gotham Knights is currently sitting at a 40%, which is pretty freaking bad. Now, take this with a grain of salt because these are critic scores. Sometimes we see critic scores be really low, but user scores are actually very high, though I have a sneaking suspicion that the audience scores will be a 30 to a 50% just because the CW has not been going in a good direction, and I don't think that this show is going to magically turn that around. I don't see anything different or new with this series when I'm watching the trailers and also reading the reviews that are released. But as you can see, there aren't a ton of critic scores here so far, but the ones that are here are just very negative. We have 2.5 out of 5s, a 1.5 out of 4. So the first one is by Screen Rant. It says Gotham Knights is a half-decent DC Universe story that's unfortunately couched in teen melodrama and color grading, more irritating than atmospheric. And this is something that I have noticed with all of the posters and the teasers. It just looks very bizarre. In some scenes it looks like they have a blue filter over it, and in some scenes it's like bright yellow and gold, like they put the brightest freaking filter on that they could, going, you know what, let's make it look as warm as possible. And while they do contrast, it's not positively, and there are scenes that look very dark. It reminds me of Game of Thrones season 8 and the fight scene that you could barely see what was happening. The next one says the CW's latest superhero series, Gotham Knights, tries to boldly reinvent the Batman mythos only to be restrained by reheated teen drama. Now, if you don't know what the Gotham Knights show is about, you know, Batman is dead, and in the wake of Bruce Wayne's murder, his adopted son, Turner Hayes, is framed for his killing, and then he gets a group of his friends together to try to solve the mystery murder. And while that doesn't sound like a necessarily bad plot, it just sounds like it is going to be boring. Maybe it won't be if they can balance that action and the drama, but according to these reviews, that balance isn't really there, and there's way too much teen melodrama, and I just don't really have a lot of hope for this series at this point. Clearly, what this show is trying to do is replace the original Gotham show that ended a couple of years ago, and I don't think that they can do that. The Gotham series was awesome. It was great. You know, you didn't have Batman until you were at the end of the show, but you still had Bruce Wayne. You saw him growing up, and you saw all of these characters around him and the way that they treated him, leading him down that path. And it was a fantastic series. The acting was awesome. The pacing was great. Just the story in general was fantastic. And clearly now that that series is over, they're trying to duplicate that. You know, they've got these younger characters. They are trying to solve some mysteries. I don't know exactly what villains are going to be in this, but they are going to try to solve this murder, and I'm sure that they will by the end of the show, but you know, it's not capturing my interest. And as someone who used to watch the Arrowverse and all of these CW series, I'm just tapped out from shows like this now. Just looking at the headlines for the review article, CBR said Gotham Knights succumbs to the formulaic teen drama. They try to boldly reinvent the Batman mythos, only to be restrained by reheated teen drama. And Screen Rant also said Gotham Knights series premiere review, CW's DC series is semi-decent, but unremarkable. People need remarkable content now because there is so much out there to watch. There are so many better series you could watch watch than something like Batwoman and Supergirl. They just unfortunately have very low standards, and viewers have extremely high standards at this point. Critics are also saying things like it takes a little while to find its footing, but once it does, DC fans will be happy with the outcome. And with its heart caught between a daytime soap and a gritty superhero drama, the series never feels as potent or as focused as it could. And a lot of these complaints are very similar to other CW series like Batwoman. As you know, Batwoman was quite a failure. People were very disappointed with it, and it has taken a lot of heat over the few seasons that it's got. Critics liked it, 83% is not bad, but audiences hated it. A 23% average audience score is pretty freaking bad, and a lot of these complaints are very similar, saying things like, it doesn't really get its footing, it feels like a drama, there's not enough action, and, people just said it got worse as time went on. Things like Batwoman, the only thing you can look at this season is Alice. Everything else is empty, complete bottom. Twitchy and empty, a dumb plot. All of them are very badly written and badly played. People just, annihilated this series, and they haven't been able to make anything good in the past few years. They're, wrapping up things like The Flash, trying to get people maybe interested in these next shows like Gotham Knights, but I don't think it's going to work. And I've had to talk about the CW many times, specifically how it was never profitable. They were trying to sell it, and unfortunately for them, nothing ever really worked out. This article from December 9th, 2022 had said upon its sale to Nexstar Media, some striking things about the CW's profitability were revealed, and it turns out the network never has been profitable. This crucial bit of information was found in the SEC filing by Nexstar during the acquisition, and dares to defy a narrative of success crafted around programming that was successful for a time. I think most of us here enjoyed the Arrowverse at the beginning, when you had Arrow and Flash, and even Supergirl's beginning wasn't necessarily bad, but as the years went on and the shows went on, the content just went down the drain. Maybe Gotham Knights will surprise us. Maybe users will give it, an 80% or at least a 70, but I think that critics and audiences are going to agree on this show. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this and found it important and informative, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.